Hey, I'm Nate Flax.
I'm Noah Longworth McGuire.
And this is Talking Lion.
Talking Lion is a podcast focused on artist-to-artist conversation.
We're primarily artists, a duo called Sleeping Lion, but we've been lucky enough to write, produce, and hang out with so many incredible rising artists since we started our project.
Whether it's at sessions or parties over cups of coffee, we've talked with our creative friends about everything. Music, life, love, and all the subtle complexities that come with being in the middle of a journey.
Talking Lion is about hitting record on these conversations and sharing them with you. There's no real structure, nothing really prepared, just friends talking about life and what it's been like and where it's going.
We recorded this episode with our new friend Happy Sometimes.
We were first introduced to Happy Sometimes both through her boyfriend John, who plays drums for the band Transviolet, and her manager Nils from the Complex Group.
Some context for this interview. Happy Sometimes was weeks away from releasing her new single, Pooh Bear, set for August 7th. She also recently went platinum for a song with Dubs titled Parallel Lines.
Throughout this interview, we all had quite a few mimosas, plus a shot of Jaegermeister, so consider yourselves warned. I had to cut roughly 20 minutes of uncontrollable laughter, and yet there's still plenty of laughter left over.
What you're about to hear are three people getting to know each other while gradually getting drunk.
An additional disclaimer from Happy Sometimes. She would like everyone to know that despite her jokes, she really loves her mom.
An incredible songwriter with a lifetime of hard-earned lessons, Happy Sometimes is a kind, hilarious, and carefree friend. We really enjoyed talking, drinking, and laughing with her.
So,
Without further ado,
I'm Happy Sometimes, and this is Talking Lion.
well, hello.
Hi.
Well, welcome on. It's good to see you. We've been drinking champagne, so this is all brought to you by champagne.
Yeah.
this conversation is brought to you by
Yep.
Mimosas
I'm-
on Wednesday.
I'm nervous about it, to be honest.
Oh, we'll see how it goes. But I figure everybody should have the heads up that this is a
Yeah.
mimosa-fueled.
It's just getting started, but
It's just
progressively we'll
But
get...
buckle in, because this is going to be a wild ride.
Yeah. Should we have some sort of game involved? Like,
Definitely.
You know, whenever somebody says music, we all
Take a shot.
take a shot.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
We each how about this? We each have a ding.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So at one point during we each get one, but
We
at
each
one
get
point
one ding.
we say somebody says ding, and they have to sing it, and we'll just take a big
We
swig
drink.
of whatever.
Okay, like at any time.
at any,
Yeah.
at any time.
But you get,
yeah.
we all get one.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, we only get one? Gosh dang it.
That was the whole thing.
That was a practice run.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was a practice
That was,
run.
Okay.
we know how to do it.
All right, you get one ding.
Okay.
At some point.
After this ding.
After this.
Well, Kara, it's good to see you. Tell us
Thank
about
you.
your entire life.
Well, I started as a young boy and no. What do you where do I begin?
Well, so you're from Orange County, yeah?
Yeah. From Orange County. I grew up in Laguna Beach, California.
By the water.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
It's nice. It's really slow down there, but it's beautiful. Somehow found my way to Texas, and I was there for 7 years.
We're in Texas.
Frisco. It's 30 minutes north of Dallas.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
No, don't be
what's
nervous.
up?
You're all good. Hey.
No, so I lived in Dallas, and that was an interesting time.
Well, so did you have any siblings growing up?
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers. Nobody in my family does music, so it's confusing.
What do your parents do?
Well, my dad does a dad job. I don't know.
Dad?
Some software, computer sales,
The
Sales.
mafia?
dad stuff.
Dad stuff.
He's Tony Soprano and
Yeah. And my mom is mom.
Mom job.
Mom jobs.
No, she doesn't have a job, but it's okay.
I feel like your parents are just 3 kids in a trench coat. We're doing a business.
I never had any parents. No. Yeah, I mean, I grew up a pretty normal life.
Normal California upbringing.
Well, in Texas. It sounds like it was in Texas.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my mom's from here, my dad's from Texas.
Okay.
So at some point, my mom was like, "We can't live here anymore because everybody it's just lots of money down in Orange County, lots of."
Well, I mean, Laguna Beach is Laguna Beach.
Yeah, it's Laguna Beach, and my mom wanted to see us to see, that there's more out there, and so we moved to Texas.
How old were you when you moved to Texas?
10.
Okay.
Was that hard? Did you have friends in Laguna that you had to say goodbye to?
No,
forever?
I've never really had friends.
Oh, you have us. Hey.
Hey. No, but I've always been so focused. I was a figure skater for 10 years growing up.
Oh, wow.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I did it for a long time, and I started when I was 7. So I was just never really involved in like school.
That what? What got you into figure skating?
Well, my mom was like, "Well, you need to do something. You're 7.
Yeah.
God dang
Did your
it."
siblings have a similarly like? Was your brother great at shuffleboard?
No, nobody did anything. My brother like dropped out of school when he was like 16 and moved to Hawaii. My other brother did school.
What do they both do now?
My oldest brother Ryan is a bartender. The middle one, Jacob, went to Chapman for screenwriting
Oh, cool.
and just got married.
Hey, Mazel Tov.
Mazel.
Mazel, yeah.
I'm not Jewish.
No, you're halfway there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm almost disappointed neither of them did shuffleboard. What a game that is.
I wish.
Yeah, sand on the table.
Yeah.
No, but sounds so. What stopped?
I feel like I can't look at you guys.
Hello.
Are we just funny looking?
Should I put? No, it's just.
It's the beard. I have a terrible beard right
I feel
now,
like my
right?
face is really red.
It is a little red.
It's the champagne. Should I put my sunglasses on? Is it
If that'll
bright
make you
in
feel
here?
better.
No, I don't think it will.
Well, what ended this illustrious career in figure skating?
Music. So I mean, like,
It makes it sound like
Fucking music.
Makes it sound like music came along with like a bat and just like hit your
music. Yeah, no,
eye, Cara.
I started like writing songs when I was like around the same time I was figure skating. And like they were about like shopping and like my mom and like just,
Do you remember the name of your first song ever?
God. Like my first actual recorded song, yeah, but there were so many bad ones,
What was the name of the
Yeah,
first
what was
recorded
the-
one?
Yeah, Wouldn't Leave Me, I think it was called.
It's about the Gap employees.
Totally. 100%. Yeah, no, it was just I love shopping with my mom. That was like a song, I'm pretty sure.
The song was called Shopping with Your Mom.
I think it was. There were
great.
pictures that like accompanied the songs. It was like in crayon on like construction paper. My mom was like, "Yeah, sure. Don't do that. Stay skating."
Did either of them sing? Like, did they have any?
My dad thinks he can sing. He had a guitar. Like he would play guitar growing up. My mom would like scream at him because he was so bad. And he'd strip down to his underwear and just start playing guitar and just be really obnoxious. And
Is
like,
that where you
this is
found-
my family.
Is that
I'm
where
like,
you
my
found
family's
your
really
confidence
normal.
as an
My
artist
family was
is
very
from-
normal.
Yeah,
my dad just on Tuesdays would get
He'd
underwear
get naked and just
play guitar.
start playing guitar.
Yeah.
No.
I think they do that in Times Square too.
Yeah, he's like the naked cowboy.
Naked
That's
cowboy,
my dad.
Yeah.
No, my mom also thinks she can sing. Sorry, mom, but she can't.
Is she finding out now? This is the first
This is
time
the first
she's
time.
yeah.
I don't know. My whole family, they're very creative. Everyone in my family is creative, but musically inclined, not so
I
much.
hate to see it.
I hate to
Well,
say
all right. So you were writing songs, and you were like, was there a point when you thought, hey, this is the thing?
That took a while. I was like 14 when that happened, and I just kept listening to music and thinking that everything sucked. I was like, wow, we really need some good pop music out here, and I was gonna be the one to do it. So I taught myself how to like produce on GarageBand, or what I thought was producing on GarageBand when I was 14. I think I need a cough. Hold on.
Get it out.
Should I hit the jewel or something?
Deep breaths. Wait. Do we all hold hands?
Let's hold hands.
My neck's on the mic. Do we like say like a...
Should we manifest our intentions for the
Yeah, what are they?
To get through it.
get through it?
I need to get this, whatever it is, out of my throat.
It's the mic.
God. I feel like I need to like... It's fine.
Ooh.
Everything's fine, everybody.
Yeah, like you're producing when you're 14. You were making these songs,
Yes.
having your heart broken for the first time.
That happened later. Like I didn't kiss a boy until I was 16. And then I just went on a spree because I was like, I started writing songs and I was like, oh, this is fun. I was like Taylor Swifting my life
I was
away.
like spree of what? And I'm like, oh, both.
Both.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Just like getting into, I just went through like college years when I was really young because I didn't go to high school. So I just had a very,
Were you homeschooled?
you could say that.
I mean, I could say that.
You could say that. I was home. but that you,
The
yeah.
state just breaks in and is just like, yeah, you were required to do another 2 years.
Yeah,
of
well,
high
it's more
school,
than
yeah.
that. No, so I went to private school my whole life, and I was simultaneously doing music and whatever. But like, I was the person that I would try to find like my niche at school because everybody did that. Like, you either were in theater or like choir or something. if you did music. And so I thought that like, oh, maybe I'll find, something there. And I was just like the worst at everything. Like I was never in any plays or like had any friends. So
No, I found that musicians out here actually like that's kind of a commonality.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's kind of the underdog.
Yeah.
Because they just had to work twice as hard.
Right.
Because there were the people who were naturally gifted at school, and they would get the leads, and they would get like all that stuff.
But it's funny because like looking at where I am now, I never got anything. Like people were just like, why does she think she can try out for the lead role of Annie? Who is this bitch?
Yeah, she's not even redheaded.
she doesn't even go here. But no,
Who's the lead role of Annie? Is it Annie?
I can't deal with it.
So you weren't Annie.
Was not Annie. I was not anything. You had to get letters to come back to the school basically every year, like because it was private, and they're like, but it was pretty much they went to everyone.
Which letter? Like
it was like come back.
Oh.
And like
I thought it was like R.
no, and in funny in 8th grade, my last year of school ever, I didn't get the letter. Like literally everyone in the entire school got the letter except for me. So
wait, so it would be like getting your college acceptance letter, but just like every year of school, you
yeah,
had to,
they'd be like,
wait
"Come
to
back!
find
Like
out
we
if
welcome
you were,
you back."
Worthy to come back to school.
Yeah,
That
and
sounds like that's some
lot.
Hogwarts bullshit.
oh, it was some
Hogwarts
bullshit.
bullshit.
Trust
Yeah.
me, there was a lot of weird. It was Texas, so
Oh.
there was like a period of time where I had to sit alone at lunch. But yeah, basically, I didn't go back, and I was homeschooled for a year, and that was like miserable. And then my mom's like, "Well, that's not gonna work out." So then she put me in public school, and I was like, "Public school? I get to wear whatever I want?" Like I was super excited, and that was short-lived. It turned into like a Mean Girls situation.
Oh.
Like actually, like play by play. That
Somebody was
movie.
hit by a bus.
I became Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. No, did somebody get hit by a bus is my question.
No. I mean, might as well. No, I just school wasn't for me, and I just was always doing music, and here I am.
And Tina Fey was your teacher. And
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Mean Girls, play by play.
Yeah, totally.
Did you go to college?
Do I look like I went to college? Do I seem like I went to
hard to
college?
go to
Do
college,
we?
you don't go to
I mean,
high
I don't
school.
know.
Yeah.
We-
If you don't go to high school, you're not
Yeah,
getting
it's
into
hard.
college.
I would imagine it's pretty hard to get into college.
We average half a degree.
Yeah.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
That's better than me.
Oh, you know.
I don't even have a diploma. Just kidding. Stay in school. I did graduate technically when I was 16.
From high school?
From just.
Is that like a GED?
Well, they have a California high school proficency exam
That's
thing
cool.
here,
It's like,
so
can-
it sounds
can-
a
can you
little
do
better.
math?
And
Yeah.
it was hard. It was hard because I didn't go to school, so I didn't know anything. They're like trigonometry. I was like, I didn't even take algebra.
So,
great.
so were you focusing like most of your energy into music at that point? After you're like, school's not for me. Like, was that how you were spending your time?
Yeah.
And you were learning how to produce. What were you learning how to produce on?
I was doing GarageBand until Logic. Yeah, so when I was in Texas, I was actually going to this music school. It was kind of like an after-school sort of situation, and they had like a master class there. And I started through that touring kind of with this group called the Velocity Tour. And it was just all around Texas, and like they did the U.S. and stuff like that. And there was just a lot going on there. So it was like
What was the Velocity Tour? Like what?
it was like going to like certain events and doing like everything was choreographed and everything was like a certain vibe. Like we did like a Motown. It was interesting. It was weird.
Was it like like adult kids bop?
Sort of.
Okay.
Not really. It was like there was like 4 people in it. So it was
Okay.
very
oh,
like
so it was like okay.
yeah, and it wasn't like we sang together. It was kind of like we all were.
Do you still keep in touch with the other people who were in it?
It's weird because most of those people ended up out here, and I've reconnected with them like recently.
Are they all like songwriters and artists
Yeah,
now?
yeah. It's just it was a weird thing.
Why did you move from Texas to Los Angeles?
So because I was involved in this group of kids that was in music or whatever, I ended up we did like a quote field trip to the NAMM show.
Oh, in Anaheim?
Random as fuck. Yeah. So the woman who owned this company, her son is a musician, but she started a label and she signed one artist and then she signed her son. So they were setting up meetings out here in LA and all of that when we all came out for the field trip to NAMM.
Right.
But because my family's from here, me and my mom stayed with my grandma down in Laguna and the rest of the group stayed up here. But because we were separate, they set up a meeting with a producer and a manager just to kind of get us like acquainted with the idea of meeting with people in LA and just kind of getting the experience and yada yada.
The weather.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a meeting set up, and my mom's always on time, and we showed up, and no one else was there, but we were there for like an hour before everyone else got there. So we had I sat down with these two guys, and basically that's how I ended up back here. That was kind of the first thing that happened out here.
Were they industry or writers, producers?
Industry. So one of them was a producer, the other was a manager. They're both bullshit, but it started a process, and it's like in music, like my entire career this far has just been the chain reaction of certain things happening. Obviously that happens, but it was pretty crazy because I got this feeling when I was there that like it was just supposed to happen. Like I had like chills, like, and I cried afterwards. I was like, I know that I'm like supposed to be here, and like I'm gonna come back here, and like all this stuff.
The feeling of being in the right place.
Yeah, and it was such like a total, like I could see my whole life like happening, and it sounds so dumb.
No, but I think everybody has had that feeling.
Yeah.
When the pieces finally.
I live in like a fantasy land all the time. Like there's no reality at all in my brain. So like to me, like the most like horrible thing could happen to me, and I would still be like, but this is supposed to happen. And like, I'm going to get through it, and it's going to teach me something. Like, that's just, I'm very optimistic.
I think the first time we hung out, we talked about things happening for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the opposite side of it, but like.
A lot of people are. Well, that's normal.
I think things happen and we give it reason, but like, it's all the same thing is that
Right.
if you are doing the thing and something happens and you're adaptable and you're, even the worst, most horrible things can happen and you can make a life, normal again or,
Right.
or you're even better from it.
Right. Yeah, it's been a trip because I see one place that I'm going, and if it has anything to do with that, I'm in, and then it just leads to it's like a ladder. I know that even if this thing doesn't work out, it's gonna lead to something else that's gonna work out, and then yada yada yada.
I mean, I used to cringe at the word manifesting.
Yeah.
But like in a lot of ways, that's just a filter system.
Right.
When I feel like I'm messing up, like I'm imagining that like I'm driving 10 years from now, like in a Tesla, like on the 101, and I mess up and the car disappears and I'm just tumbling on the.
Right.
Like I feel like I have a sort of back to the future responsibility to like whatever this sort of vision of the future is.
Right.
Do you feel that sort of responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said like, if I don't have music, like I would die, because and not even like in the sense, like in the act of making music and all of that. It's like I don't have an identity without this thing being my identity. And I forgot to like mention like the first thing I ever did that kind of gave me like the quote bug or whatever. I was 8 and I sang at the school talent show, and I was the girl that like never got anything. Like I told you, I was never Annie. But I sang because anyone could do it. They don't like, audition. And I sang If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. And I like wore a fedora, and I just like, I stood out there and I was shaking, but I sang and I had like a standing ovation and all this stuff. This was before I moved to Texas, but everyone was like, what the heck was that? Because she's like the most shy person, which is kind of why my mom put me in ice skating, because I was really shy.
Right.
And then since then, it was just like, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be a star. I mean, now I know it's more than that, but it's,
Or whether or not anybody really wants that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't care how I was going to get famous. I just wanted to be famous. But not anymore. That's not the dream, obviously. It's much more.
No, of
there's
course.
much more depth.
But I mean, I think you get the bug. I think
Yeah.
In a weird way, I was always very hit by the idea of like Bon Iver going out into a cabin and like passing around the tape. I think before that, I was like, oh yeah, I like music, it's cool. But the idea that you could be sad and go to some random cabin somewhere and come back with like a masterpiece was.
It's the most tangible form of emotion. I mean, music is like the most crazy job and thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just it's such it's been such an interesting experience my entire life.
And
like,
it feeds itself, I think, in a really nice way too. Like
Yeah.
I always feel in a way like Bruce the shark from Finding Nemo. Like, you just get the little smell of blood and all of a sudden you're like, oh, right, we're doing this. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it's weird when you get like the little glimpses of things. Like I feel like when I look at my life, I see the timeline. I see everything exactly for what it is and why it happened. And obviously in the moment it's much harder to be there.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. I feel like a weirdo. Someone stop me from talking.
I mean, that's
the
kind
whole
of
point
the
of
whole
this
point of this thing, yeah.
You're here to talk.
Yeah,
Say whatever
true,
you want.
True.
Was there anything about figure skating that you feel has been a somewhat like relevant lesson in what you're doing now?
Absolutely. I mean, I was getting up at 5 a.m. every morning before school when I
wow.
did go to school. When
Is
I
the
was
world
skating.
around at 5 a.m.? Like, is it loaded yet?
No.
Okay.
No. It's
Yeah.
dark. It's weird.
It's weird.
Ryan Seacrest on the radio.
Weird.
The
What?
year is 2001.
It's always 2001 at 5 a.m.
Ryan Seacrest is giving away Ryan's roses.
You have a Walkman and it's skipping.
Yeah. I'm searching through every now, that's what I call music CD to find the one Blink 182 song.
When you moved out to Los Angeles, did you start as an artist project or you just ripped the jewel?
Yeah.
on the
I'm like,
side?
when did you start Join?
You're like the chocolate rain guy, just like moving away from the mic to
breathe in.
to breathe.
It's a jewel.
Anyways, what are you saying?
Did you start the artist project while you were in Los Angeles? Like when you first moved to Los Angeles, or did you start doing the songwriting thing first?
First of all, it's not a project. It's my life, man.
Oh, sorry.
But-
listen, I agree and I understand you.
I know.
It's excellent.
Just needed that from you.
You're recognized and I see you for your truth.
Thank you. What are we talking about?
Did you start songwriting or
Yes.
start an artist artist experience?
Artist, comma.
Artist experience, yeah.
So
Is that
I
fair? Artist experience is where I'm.
Would you describe yourself as an experience?
think I would describe myself as like an experiment.
How often are you happy?
Ugh. Never. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
I'm like perpetually happy and also like chronically like confused and sad.
Okay.
I feel that.
It's like I'm sad, but I'm like happy that I'm sad.
I feel like I'm the setup to the first act of a movie. Like I feel like everything that's going on
Just
right
act
now.
one.
Yeah, I feel like everything that's going on in my life is setting me up to be this like safe character that has buried every flaw
Yeah.
that then will have to be challenged by like the inciting incident.
Are you planning like a murder? Because I feel like that's where you're going with
No,
this.
that's not. No, I'm somebody I know will be murdered, and I'm
Okay.
gonna have
He will
to,
go on a journey
You're-
of
Yeah.
self-discovery.
You're gonna find out.
I feel like I'm at the beginning of Finding Nemo.
Are you Nemo?
No, I'm Marlin.
Marlon is the person who goes through the shit and finding Nemo.
Oh my God, where was I this whole time? I thought it was just Nemo. I was
You're
like,
the pelican.
Nemo.
Yeah. No,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Marlin's the one. Marlin like has to learn how to let go
That's deep.
Yeah.
and have fun.
I should watch that again.
You should.
You should.
I
You will
recommend
cry.
everybody watches it at least once a
You will
year.
cry.
Songwriting and artists.
I've asked this question roughly 3
Yeah,
times.
don't do it again. Please. We're going to have to go into something else. So it's interesting because it was like simultaneously I was like doing all these weird different things like with music. I hated songwriting, but I loved songwriting at the same time. I didn't want to be writing with anyone and I still am kind of that way. Like I was afraid of like the judgment of being in a room with other people when I was writing or giving away something to someone else, like another artist or whatever. Like I always wanted to be the artist.
Though I imagine that must be also sort of mutually linked to appreciating the validation of like when you get it right in a room of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So through this like this thing I was doing in Texas, like there was like a songwriting like not class, but like I had like
Camp or
there was all kinds of stuff like that and I just hated it. Like I would cry. I didn't want to go because I didn't want to like share my feelings with other people. It just made me feel weird. And like, but I would go home and I'd start producing and I would do it by myself. And like those habits die really hard because I still do that. Like I'll be in a session and I cry. No, I'm just kidding. But but I'm like, why don't we just hang out? Like I like you guys. Let's just hang out. I don't do that either, but I've done it.
why ruin it with writing a song?
Yeah, I'm like, why ruin this relationship with that? But it just sounds douchey if I say it, but like I'm an artist like 100% at heart. Like this, I want to give what I have to say to like myself and to people just because I feel like I feel things so intensely and it's hard to communicate with other people. So that's why I do it essentially. And what were we talking about? Just kidding.
The beginnings of songwriting. No, but what I think is, and we were talking about it before. I think what's interesting is that like as like writers, we're not necessarily guarded, but I think we're sort of defaultly on the defensive.
Yeah.
I think that we have grown up having to prove ourselves,
Right.
to the point of feeling like even when people don't need us to prove ourselves, we feel that pressure regardless of whether or not it's there, which is something I think sessions kind of grow you out of, but that I still think is a hard feeling to shake.
It's a really complicated thing. Like I've gone through so many different phases of music and songwriting and just life. It's like it goes hand in hand, you know.
Would you say you've over the last couple of years have let your guard down to a degree?
Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of like I know that music people are my people, and that's who understands me, and that's who I understand, and that's who I connect with. So it's easy for me to let my guard down, but it's when it comes down to like having a song and a solid product at the end of the day, like I'm not the kind of person that's able to like, we're going to give this song to this person. Like we're going to write this song for this person. Like I'm very like, if I really have something to feel and say, like that's when it's easy.
Yeah.
But if it's like, there's an objective, it kind of feels like an office job.
Songwriting always felt like a way to sort of get outside of myself.
Yeah.
Like, and that gives I think a lot of perspective. You get
Yeah.
to sort of get out. And likewise, one of the first songs I wrote for somebody else was for a guy who was married. And I had just been dumped. Or was getting married and I had just been dumped.
Dumped is such a harsh word. Don't say that. You were consciously uncoupled.
No, it was not. It was not conscious.
It was not conscious at
No,
all.
I was
dumped.
I was dumb. I was dumbfoundedly dumped. Yeah.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
I was blindedly. There was nothing conscious. I
Should
feel
we
like
talk about it?
we could.
That's what songwriting is for, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can write a song about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like dumped is an appropriate word.
It's just taking a dump. Taking a big old dump in the toilet.
On my heart. It was a dump on my heart.
That's why we call it that.
That's the next song. That's the next single, guys.
Dump
Dump
on
on
my
Dump on my
heart.
heart. Abby sometimes is here with her
Stay
new single.
tuned. Dump on my heart.
So
So
you started songwriting
yes.
before you started the artist experience.
Yes, essentially. Not on purpose. So when I first came out to LA, I was linked up with a producer, and then I was over at David Foster's Verve label.
Okay.
And it was kind of a shitty situation for me, but me being the optimist that I am, I was like, this is great. But I was literally locked into a contract where someone was stealing my money. And I was writing for all these artists that were putting songs out, and I had no idea. But that's the industry.
Hey.
But I learned so much through that period of just writing, and I think the fact that I'm blind to so many things is really helpful.
Well, and it's also, everybody kind of makes, a mistake once. Like,
Right.
The idea is to fail to learn,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
fail too badly. And, I think Will Smith said, like, fail forward. So when did you start the Happy Sometimes experience?
I had been out here doing like the writing thing for a while and simultaneously posting YouTube videos.
Like covers or originals?
Covers, but I did this thing where I wouldn't listen to this, like the songs would come out and it was still like when iTunes had the charts and there was no Spotify or anything. Mm-hmm. So songs would come out and I'd see what the top, 4 or 5 songs were. And I'd just pick one and I'd look up the chords on guitar and I'd just start playing it and I'd start singing it without even knowing what the song sounded
Not
like.
even listening to the song.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like that was my thing on YouTube.
Like blissful, ignorant.
Yeah.
Like,
And like, so some
Genius?
people,
Was it genius?
some
Yeah.
people thought people would get in fights on my videos. They'd be like, "This is awesome," and then the other people would be like, "This doesn't sound anything like the song," like whatever. And I like started getting a lot of views. So once I signed my first like management deal and all,
what was there like a specific song that popped off?
Pumped Up Kicks.
No
Ooh,
shit.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was the one, and it was like, I think it was like 1 million views for someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, that was probably 2012, 2013. Yeah.
So like I was doing that, also writing up here. And then I was at this point where I had gotten out of the deal that I was in and then in another deal and then out of that deal. And then I was with a publisher and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm really tired of like feeling like I'm not sharing everything that I possibly can share with the world and with people. Cause I was writing so much, but it was like nobody got what I was trying to do. So that's when I really started like honing in on my production. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to make an EP and I'm just going to put it out myself. I have been editing videos forever and doing all this stuff. So I had all the tools to do that. But it's like, once you make a decision to do something, it's almost like the world's like, oh, well, we can give you this though. So it's like, so then I was in another deal situation, and that's kind of where the Happy Sometimes thing came about, because I had this whole EP done.
And they were like, so how will it come out? And you're like,
Right.
oh, by the way.
No, and they were, and it was these two guys, and it was my first session with this guy, Elon. He was like, it's so interesting that you do all of this because I'm starting a label with my manager called Northern Streams, and we'd love to, have you be the first artist on this label. And I was like, cool, let's do it. My mom's like, Kara, no. And I'm like, yes, let's go. And I was like, this is just how I live my life. I'm like, I'm here for it. Like, what else am I going to do? And sign me away. So I was in that session and I was like, well, I just don't know if I want to go by Kara because Kara's kind of boring and stupid and I hate my name, but I like it. But
Any artists that go by Kara just listen to this like, hey.
yeah. And sorry. No,
Sorry.
I actually, I love my name now, but I was going through a thing. Okay, it's fine. Elon, it was literally the first day we ever met. So now I'm already like about to sign a contract and going for it. And he's like, well, what are you? Like, what's your thing? Like, what do you want to go by? And I was kind of thinking like, well, I don't want to change my name. I don't want to have a completely different identity where I walk out on stage and someone says like, here's Karen something.
Right.
And I'm like, who's that? But he's like, well, what are you? And I said, I'm sad a lot of the time and depressed mostly and all this stuff. And he's like, just being like 20. It sucks.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Angst. And he's like, well, you can't be sad all the time. And I was like, well, I'm happy sometimes. And he was like, and I was like, zinga, ding, ding, ding. That's the ding.
Oh, it was a ding.
I feel like when these moments happen, you just know that it's a moment.
For sure.
And at the time, I was still.
You hear the strings rise.
Yeah,
and the
choir,
the camera
heaven's
zooms
singing
in. Yeah.
down to me. They're like, this is a
Jangly
moment.
indie rock starts playing. And
Yeah.
Like, this is the montage.
Yeah. The montage segment. Yeah, so that day when we said happy sometimes, we're like, the moment, montage, whatever.
You see the camera zooms in.
Everything like was available. And that was crazy because I was like, there's no fucking way Happy Sometimes is going to be available. HappySometimes.com, Happy Sometimes, Instagram, Twitter, everything.
MySpace.
And like,
That feeling is better than the feeling of coming up with a good name. The feeling of coming up with a good name and then realizing that it's available on social media
it gets that much
unlike
better.
anything else.
Yeah, and it really like I couldn't give myself a reason that wouldn't make sense for me. It was like all of my music's very like melancholy, but also like not depressing. Like it's weird. It's weird. But I got in the car and I was like, Mom, I'm going to sign this deal and I'm going to go by Happy Sometimes. And she's like, that's dumb. I'll never forget the moment because I was like, no, I don't think it is, Mom. But I listened to everything my mom says and I was kind of like, what?
Well, there's just nothing like having an epiphany that like feels groundbreaking. And you go to somebody and they're like,
That's stupid.
that's stupid. Yeah. 'Cause it feels like ground shatter. And the movies tell us
Yeah.
that like you tell your friend, they're like, oh, that's good. And like the movies like also tell us that you make your first song and you show it to your friends and they're like, you could be something one day.
Yeah.
Like
that was the moment I was hoping for and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
My mom's like, that's stupid. Don't like basically quit your day job, even though this was my day job, but whatever.
when I was in New York, I texted Noah 4:00 in the morning. It was me on my voice memo going, The caption underneath the voice memo was, "This is what a hit sounds like."
Were you drunk?
No, I just woke up. I had this I had the melody in like a dream or whatever, and I woke up and voice memoed it and
amazing.
texted it to him. You just laugh into your glass.
I just self imploded. Anyways.
So you signed this deal. Your mom hated the name.
I'm like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
I was like, screw you, Mom. Then I had like, the moment of doubt where I'm like, well, is this dumb? But then like a couple weeks went by and I was like, if I don't be happy sometimes, like I have nothing. Just like so dramatic. I'm like, my life's over. So moral of the story is I signed this deal, did that. That was the beginning of Happy Sometimes. My 21st birthday seems like I was so old, but I'm still only 23.
No, I mean we're both. I mean Noah's 22. I'm 23.
Yeah.
But like my joke is like I feel like I've been so old. For
I feel
so
so
long.
old.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't know. Like no one specifically. I got old, but like I feel
Just kind of happened.
Wise.
I
Yeah.
feel weathered.
Yeah.
Tired.
Tired.
Like I feel like an old pair of leather gloves.
I feel like
thrown into the shed.
I feel like a plastic bag just drifting in the wind.
Oh yeah.
You know, ready to start again.
Ready to
you
be a
know,
firework
Ready to be
over
a
there?
firework. Yeah. I'm the bag from American Beauty. That just
Ding.
ding.
Anyways.
So you signed the deal.
Oh yeah. I signed a deal, but I.
Sounds like you did it in blood, and it was to Ursula.
It was.
General theme is watch what you sign.
Yes. Watch what you sign, but
We
also
don't have to go into it, but like.
But I'm the worst.
the-
I'm the worst person to talk to about it because I'm like, sign everything, do everything because it moves you forward.
it'll
Like
lead you to
it
where
doesn't
you're at.
matter. Like I've never been someone. It's horrible because everybody takes my money, so I'm broke as fuck. But throughout all of these shit situations, I've done all of the things that like I wanted to do. Kid, you want to be a musician?
You want to be a musician? Have you heard about this music industry?
You want to see your name in lights?
Yeah, we can put your name in lights. How much you want?
Come down to my shop on Hollywood Boulevard.
Hollywood Boulevard. We'll
Put
put your name in lights. Yeah.
Names and
Your
lights.
name here.
Yeah, your name
Your
here in
name.
lights. Yeah.
In lights.
Yeah, your name is
$15.
15 bucks and 100% of your income.
Yeah.
You have one of my favorite Instagram bios of anybody.
Thanks. Well, it went from I have a gold record, but I'm too broke to buy it, to I have a platinum record, and I'm too broke to buy it.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
It was like literally like I found out my song Parallel Lines went gold first of all, and that was like crazy to me, only because everybody else was calling me and being like, "That's crazy," and I was like, "Is it?"
Like, I guess it's crazy. Yeah.
My mom calls me. She goes, "Where's the money?" I called her and I was like, "Mom, I just found out I have a gold record." She's like, "But where's the money?" She's like, "You're supposed to get paid and you
She's like,
didn't
I'm
get
asking
paid."
the same question.
I was like, "Mom, just be happy for me for a second."
I told you, I mean, I got back from New York yesterday, and,
Yeah.
and the whole week, I'm like, yeah, I started this podcast. It's great. I'm interviewing these awesome people, and they're like, yeah, but how do you get paid for that? I'm like,
I don't. I went to a seminar and this girl was like, "Moral of the story, if you want to do music, go to college." And I sat there and I was like, "You sure?"
I don't know. I feel like I've always been, and what's nice is that, so my father was more or less obsessed with self-help seminars growing up, which means that I grew up not believing anything. Like
Good.
that's the thing. Like my dad was like so into dogma that like I grew up that nobody could tell you this is how you do it, because not only is there not one way to do it, but even if there was, it changed yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's path is different.
Yeah.
If you go to college and
Yeah.
you get something from that, great. I was just one of those people that didn't even.
We
to high school.
sort of cancel out the statistic because I
Yeah.
dropped out and he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we both, Sleeping Lion does the thing, then it's just a
it's just proof that
point
there is
point
no
for
one-
both
yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's and I still believe like I'm a very educated person in a lot of ways that I probably wouldn't be if I went to school and did the whole thing.
Well, you just learn a lot by being in this. Like
Yeah. It's
impossible not to.
if you really feel like this is your calling and this is your life, like you're hungry for the knowledge that you get, I guess.
And I've also always felt that you get very smart by being dumb about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. That's
You
why I'm
know,
like, sign everything. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. You learn.
Give me the lesson.
Yeah, you learn the.
Date me.
You say date me? That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
David.
I'm like, yeah, that's the whole fucking thing. It's
Yeah.
like, you mess up enough times, you're like, oh, that's what it looks like to not fuck it all up.
Yeah. I still have yet to get there.
Oh, well, call me when you do. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
likewise,
right?
yeah.
But that's part of it. That's why it's fun. I mean, not to anyone. Everybody else is like, "Kara, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm having a great time."
Well, I mean, no industry lets you fuck up so beautifully.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
True, because you get to fuck up and then write about it.
Yeah.
and that
Other-
could be your come up.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It really
but
is.
Like other industries, you fuck up and like some guy loses a hand, literally.
Yeah.
Here it's like
That's like you
Wait,
get
what
nothing
industry
from that.
is that?
Lumberjacking.
Lumberjacking?
What about-
Saw, like, welding.
Anything
welding.
industrial, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't like pressure.
Yeah.
That like in the moment,
Right.
if somebody's like, yeah, if you don't do this in 5 minutes, you're fucked. I'm like,
No, I'm like, I'm gonna go do something else.
yeah.
busy.
I want to mess up like roughly 12 times,
Yeah.
a minute, and learn from each one, and not have anybody get hurt by it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like whatever floats your boat and doesn't sink others.
Buoyancy.
Like if you buoyancy, a life vest,
a life vest.
tomato,
yeah.
a boat, a surfboard.
A bunch of surfboards
Oh,
strung
a lot of
together.
surfboards.
A raft of surfboards.
A cruise ship.
You lying on your own back.
Bring your friends.
Bring your friends.
Yeah, the tide rises every ship.
My face is warm.
My face is cold.
What's your face like?
My face is medium, I guess.
Room temp. Anyways, guys.
So, I first heard you on Love for the Weekend.
Yes.
When did that song, what was it like when that song came out? Because that was the first kickoff, yeah?
Yes. It wasn't going to be, but it was. So the full story of this song, I somehow, I go blindly in all of this stuff. But when I was signed to this indie label, I somehow caught the attention of Spotify from literally nowhere. Like at this point, I literally have never put music out, just...
From the company or curators or...
Yeah, curators. So there's 3 curators, Austin Kramer, Mike Begane, and Nick Holmston, who started the playlist. So Austin Kramer was super interested in the project.
He did electronic. Well, he does electronic.
Yeah. So and then Mike does a lot of the pop stuff for US, and Nick is global, pretty much everything. Austin Kramer sent me a folder of tracks, and I didn't know who any of these people were. I'm like, who is this guy? No, so he sent me a folder of tracks, and I was with my ex at the time. We were living in this shithole house with 7 producers. It was a whole thing. So me and my ex-boyfriend, we were going through these tracks or whatever, and I was like, you should do something with your life. Do you want to come write this with me on this track? We didn't know who produced the tracks or anything. So we wrote Love for the Weekend, very tequila infused song, middle of summer, lots of cigarettes, disgusting. I lived in a trash house. I was a trash person. My mom came to the house one time and she left and she cried. She was like, what have I done? But that's LA,
Yeah, that's how
No,
it goes.
and it was really it was a weird time, but I sent it over to the guys at Spotify and they were like, this is amazing. And we're like, what do you mean? And everyone loved it. I've always been a very if I don't feel a song, I don't feel the integrity of a song, then I'm not stoked on it. But sometimes that's just how it works.
Have you come around to it over time? I've definitely written songs that haven't hit me in the moment, but I'll hear it later and I'm like, oh shit, that's...
It's a well-written pop song.
Yeah.
And I think that just because it didn't really mean that much to me at the time, doesn't mean it didn't need to happen or didn't need to come out.
And listeners have a relationship with a song.
Yeah, and
regardless
that's
of where you're at. Yeah.
And it's kind of the moment where because it did so well, I realized that I am writing songs for other people. And sometimes those songs are just to make you feel good. And it doesn't always have to be this is my take on everything. This is how I feel. It's very there's a lot of gray area, but yeah, just because that song didn't make me feel the best doesn't mean that it didn't make someone's day.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. We do it for them.
And it still is. I mean, today somebody hears that song for the first time.
Yeah. And it makes them feel something.
Yeah. Well, and it was cool that it came from from Spotify. That it
Yeah.
came from that.
Which is crazy. So
Yeah.
so the guy, Nick Holmston, his son actually produced the track, and he
Oh,
was
wow.
15.
Wow.
And I was like, he's 15? That's crazy. So, I mean, it did really well. It was on every New Music Friday. It was kind of my first taste of all of that stuff, around the world. And yeah, it was definitely its own thing. Yeah.
You wrote a lyric down. What lyric was that from? Love for the Weekend?
No, I did the Parallel Lines.
Nice. Oh, well, tell me about Parallel Lines.
Parallel Lines, I did half in my bedroom at home in Orange County, and half with my friend up here in LA. I was at the house I was kind of living at, but it was before I was living there. Sometimes I feel when I write songs, it's completely subconscious. I don't even actually know what I'm saying when I'm saying it. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. Why I said that or why I was feeling that.
Right.
But I every song that I put out is 100% from a place in my heart. I never really sing songs that someone else wrote or anything. It's just very, yeah, I don't know. But that one just went on its own journey.
Well, and not to be the French New Wave director Truffaut once said, but the French New Wave director Truffaut once said
Tell
that
me.
everything he made was either biographical or autobiographical.
Yeah.
That there was always sort of, and I always say that I don't care about a song until there's skin in the game. Mm-hmm. When there's something in it, like it would hurt you to lose. What I mean to say is you put yourself in the songs that you make, or you put what you've experienced, the stories of other people,
It's a weird thing. Because I sit down at my computer like literally every single day of my life is me sitting at my computer and either like hating myself or just blacking out. Like there's no in between. I'm either like,
though. I mean, I guess it's good that you're not blacking out, hating yourself. 'Cause
yeah,
that could be
right.
a
That's
good-
but I don't mean like blacking out in a drinking
No, I
sense.
mean,
I
like,
mean
you're-
just
you're
like
in the zone.
I'm in a
Yeah,
zone
yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't know what's going on, but I
Yeah.
will in like 12 hours, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Are you okay? Like I haven't heard from you all day." My mom's like, "Carrie, I thought you died." She's calling my friends. It's a whole thing. But what were we talking about?
Parallel lines.
Parallel lines. Yeah, so that song was one of those kind of accidents, and I was making my EP at the time, and it didn't really fit like with the rest of the stuff, but I knew it was a special song. And Dubs, the DJ duo, DVBBS, they came along, and they were like, "We want this song," and I was
How
like,
did
"How
you-
much?" I'm just kidding.
Show me the money.
And they paid me.
Wait, how did you meet them?
So this is another
It sounds like you met them
thing.
at an auction. It's just like,
How much from
How
the
much?
song?
21,
I say 500,
This is
600.
this is another crazy story. Like all my entire life is like all of these weird like tangled events happening. So like I went to my publisher set me up in a session with unmentioned DJ. There was a guy working at the studio who managed a DJ named Borges. So I had this song called Los Angeles that I wrote down in Orange County, and like it was like the shittiest production ever. It was just like a guitar and like whatever, and he was like, Borges wants this song. So Borges was gonna release Los Angeles, but then Dubs was like, no, we want this. And I was like, who the fuck are you? And moral of the story is 2 years went by and nothing happened.
Wait, so they wanted it. Did Borg just cut it?
They did a whole thing, like both of them did.
Oh, okay.
And then Dubs was going to release it, like for sure. It was a whole thing. And then it didn't happen. So when Parallel Lines came around, like we had already had this relationship of like, they knew who I was.
They're like,
I knew
she's
who-
dope. The song didn't happen. Let's do another thing.
Right. And
Yeah.
I was a little hesitant because I was like, I don't want to put a song on hold that I think has potential. And then they were like, no, we got this. We're going to do it. And so they did. They released it. It was 2017, I believe. And it did really well. I mean, it was a platinum record now.
Yeah.
And I went to...
It charted, right?
Yeah, so it was on radio in a lot of places, and people were sending me videos like from London, like from Canada, US, all over the place. And my mom like called me and Zara and was like, "Carrie, your song's playing," and I was like, "What do you mean?"
Was it always the intention that you'd be singing on it, or was it?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm kind of selfish, and I mean, not selfish. I mean, I've worked my ass off my entire life, but like, just
How
a
dare you work your
side
ass
note.
off your whole life?
No, but I don't want to give away, like, because I come from such a fragile place when I'm writing, like it's really hard for me to give that to someone.
But it's also, I mean, it's nice because oftentimes there will be the case where somebody will really care about the song.
Yeah.
And the artist would be like, oh, fuck it, let's get a feature that will be, this or that or whatever.
Right,
This was
right.
like, no, they recognize that this was an important song to you.
Yes.
And
it was never a question of like who was going to sing it and all
like
of this.
you were on it.
Yeah.
Well, and that was what I was curious about, if
Yeah.
that was always sort of explicit and.
Yeah, and I think that like I'm so thankful for like the experience of that song that came out of nowhere, like most of them do. But like they were awesome, and they brought me to Canada to shoot like the music video and all this stuff, and we did like the Dreams Festival, and I was on the plane, and we got off the plane, and I was like, I had no makeup on, like a sweatshirt, and like they called my manager, and they're like, does Kara want to like sing at this like festival or whatever? There's like 20,000 people, like what, yada yada yada, and I was like, let's fucking go. And so I literally put like these high boots on that like my mom made, and I was like, let's go. And I like went out there, and I was like running into like the fire like part, like you know how they exit out for like the pyro. And so I was like going out there, and I'm like strutting, like the security guards like coming and pummeling me, like attacking me.
It's like, don't get set on fire.
Yeah. But it was like, that was like the first glimpse of like, wow, like my song that I wrote in my room like can bring me here. And then 2 months later, we did Lollapalooza, and that was
wow.
like 50,000 people. It was fucking insane. And like, just because of one song.
Yeah.
And
Were you nervous?
oh my God, I was shitting myself. I was like, I'm not going to be nervous. But first of all, I was with my ex at the time, and I brought him along because my mom couldn't come. Thanks, Mom.
There's so much mom shade, but also like
I know.
adornment.
I know, it's like I can't really like say anything bad. I'm just like, Mom, why you like this? So we like Dubs was like, we're gonna be there like 11 a.m. Let's go. Meet us in the artist section or whatever. Like, because they have the whole back like artist thing, and there's like tents and where everyone eats and stuff. So and free drinks. So me and my ex, we're sitting there from 11 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night when I finally went on. Because they were like, we're going to be there early, and they didn't show up till 5 minutes before the set. So we're like, there's free tequila, free Tito's, like booths, like all this stuff. And I had an artist wristband, so I was able to like go everywhere. And they gave him the wrong wristband, so he couldn't go anywhere. And we were stuck in this thing, and I'm like, well, I guess we should like have a drink or something. Like, I don't know. So we're like just trying not to get drunk all day. This fucking artist section.
The struggle of an open bar that you can't drink at.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can't do that. It's hot. I'm like in my full outfit. Like, just, it was a whole thing. And then there's like no glamour at all. And they get there, and we get there. I have like 2 minutes before I have to go on stage. And I'm like, well, fuck. It was my first time using in-ears too. And I was just like, well, we're winging this one. But like 50,000 people. So like, I don't even know. And they had like fans in the backstage area, like kind of like behind the booth.
Yeah.
And I walked up, and they're like, okay, you're going on, like whatever. And like the fans are like rubbing me on the back. They're like, you're going to be okay. And I was like, so sorry. I'm letting you down.
You just discovered a new thing called fan therapy.
Yeah.
This is where you walk into a room, there's roughly 25 people who know your music, and they're like, you're great.
Great.
Don't worry about your problems and trauma.
They're like, you're going to be fine.
You'll be fine.
Kill it. You're going to kill it. And I was like, oh no. So then I get up there, and the first thing I said, I was like, he was like, you know, doing his whole thing, like, we're going to welcome out, like, a very special, like, happy Sunday, yeah. And I just walk up, and I'm like, what the fuck's up, Chicago? But, like, no one heard me. And I immediately was cringing. What the fuck's up, Chicago? Yeah, it was so bad. It's horrible. And the whole thing was being live streamed because it's Lollapalooza. So all my friends at home are like, Kara, what was that? And I was just like, but it was amazing. I blacked out.
But like good blackout.
It was a good blackout.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, oh, I got off stage and I started crying. I was like, this is all I want to do. And my boyfriend's like, I have to pee. And then everyone's stopping me because my outfit was great. So they were all just like, oh my God, I love your outfit. He's like, I have to pee. I'm like, go in the fucking alley.
It's like, you are harshing my
Let me
mellow
have
right
my
now.
moment.
Yeah.
I have to pee.
But other than that, it was great.
Are you ready for the question
Are
round?
you ready for the question round?
Oh my God, it's happening now?
Yeah.
It's happening now.
Okay. Ding. Should we all just like let out a big Welcome to Talking Lion. I'm happy sometimes.
So we're about to do the question round, but Kara suggested, and we agree that
It
we should
wasn't
do
me.
a shot beforehand. So we're doing a shot of Jaegermeister. To good decisions, but bad ones right now.
Health.
Health.
To health. Salute.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. That wasn't enough to make a baby go to sleep. Do people say that?
No, not at all.
I like that though. All right. Are you ready for these questions though?
I don't know.
All
no.
right. Question 1. What is your phone background?
It's stupid.
Describe it for the
It's
people at home.
me and young John at Ron Barcia.
Well, we had Sarah on the show.
Yeah.
We had the full Transviolet experience at some point.
I like didn't want to be gross and talk about it, but like it's such a weird thing how this whole thing played out. I don't know if we should talk about it.
No,
here.
talk about it. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, let's talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it, but like I don't want to. You're like Kristen Wiig on that SNL.
Don't make me sing.
Don't make me sing.
Please don't make me sing.
Don't make me sing.
It was weird. Like, for those of you who don't know, just kidding.
John plays drums in Transviolet. We wrote a song with Transviolet. That is how we met each other.
You and I.
You and I.
Who is this?
Hello?
Hello, Mom? Is the Uber here? Yeah, so it's weird. Like 3 years ago, there was an article like when I first put out my EP, and it said happy. That Jaeger is really getting to me. Happy sometimes. Anyways, I'm taking over now. This is my show. What were we talking about? Oh yeah.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, there was an article that came out, and it said happy sometimes is the best thing to come out of LA since Transviolet. And it was like, at the time I had already been listening to their stuff, and like I got a lot of like influence from that band, just random, like I don't know.
We were really influenced by it.
Yeah, and I feel like I was like 7 because I was on Tumblr like when I discovered them, and I was like, I had like my Tumblr was like popping, like I was getting like Tumblr famous for no reason.
It was my first Discover Weekly.
Really?
Yeah.
Spotify was
Like
happening.
Girls Your Age was the first Discover Weekly. Yeah.
So like I found out about it because Harry Styles like was singing
Right.
it. How gross am I? And I was like, what band is that? Just like everyone else. But then that article came out, and I like remembered it because I had become like a fan of their band and whatever. And my mom like would be like, why are you always playing this song? And I'm like, because I like it and whatever. And this is back and forth to LA from OC.
Shut up, Mom. Don't tell me what to
I'm like,
listen to.
Mom, you don't know me at all. I'm a kid. So that happened. And then my publisher tried to set us up in like sessions like 4 times. And like every single time it like fell through. And I was bummed because I was like, I love the band, like we could write great music, and like then moral of the story is like we ended up having a session, not writing a song, drinking. Now I'm dating him. And now he's my phone background. Next question.
Nice.
And your iPhone background is you guys kissing.
Big old smooch.
Next question. Do you have a non-musical hobby?
No. I guess like a relationship.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
collectible.
I play a lot of Scrabble.
Hey, you're
Ooh.
on.
Next question. Which fictional universe would you want to live in?
If I say Harry Potter, that's stupid. So.
No, I mean that's a
That's
fair one.
about the most standard answer you could
That is
give.
about.
Not Narnia, just because it's evil. There's weird things there.
That seems chill because it's basically our world, but just with a little more magic.
A little romantic.
Right.
What's your superpower?
Day drinking.
I hate you. I would say my superpower is being able to see through negative things and just keep going in like in a forward motion. And like whether that's people or events or just different things. Like I always see the best in people. I'm like the person that's friends with the people that everyone's like, why are you friends with them? Or why do you talk to them? Like they're bad. I'm like, no, but they have good hearts. but I think that because of that, I've been able to have this like tunnel vision through my career and through all my relationships, and just whether it works out or not, it's always taught me something, and I've kept going.
What I appreciate is that you have a commitment to motion, which I think I do too.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm definitely cautious about things, and I'm definitely like I plan a lot, I think, but what's always been important to me is that there's a feeling of momentum. You know, so.
And that's, I think, the most important thing for anyone doing anything is just don't stop moving, because so many people get wrapped up in the thought of like things not working out, or like the fear that, you know, you'll get rejected or whatever. And yeah, I think just motion. And I've always subconsciously been able to do that. And I think I actually just had this conversation with someone that I thought that this was my like superpower.
Well, and I was, you know, semi-joking, but I feel like my superpower is I get overwhelmed very easily, which sounds like a weakness, but honestly, when you're overwhelmed by everything, you get very good at compartmentalizing and goal setting and breaking everything down into. So in a weird way, like weaknesses can also be like,
Absolutely.
I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about tunnel vision like it's a positive thing, and it
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah, but it
You
can be
know.
negative. I just don't. It's perspective.
It's
Everything.
perspective. Yeah.
Like your flaws are sometimes the best things about you.
Yeah.
You know, it's tunnel vision, but it's a pretty cool tunnel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's still a vision.
Whoa.
Whoa.
All right. Important question.
Oh, okay.
Think carefully.
Oh God.
Would you be a pirate?
I mean, I'd say that I am.
Holy
Whoa.
shit.
Do you want me to elaborate?
Yeah, elaborate a little bit on that.
I mean,
I download
Yes.
music illegally.
it all started in 1816 on a ship.
Next question.
Next question. What was your first tattoo?
Well,
What was that?
It was no, I had to think for a second, okay? It was this one. I haven't so all of my tattoos have been like my friends have somehow convinced me to like go with them and they think it's a good idea to buy me a tattoo.
Well.
Like so I got this cross cuz my friend Tony was getting a cross and he's like but he got it because I was getting a cross. He's like, "Go get a tattoo with me." And I'm like, "The only thing I would get is a cross." So he also got one.
What are some of the others?
So this was my first one, the cross, and then I got the Happy Sometimes logo. My same friend.
Is it Tony? Was his name Tony?
Yeah, Tony.
Hey, Tony, we're going to get a tattoo. Yeah.
No, he's like, because he was working with me on my project. He's the one that I did parallel lines with.
Oh, cool.
And he was like, "Let's get Happy Sometimes tattoos." And I was like, "Sure, like, I think you're crazy, but I'm down." And so he got it on his
He got it too?
He got it first.
Wow.
We went together, but like I wasn't going to get it. And then he got like, it was the biggest tattoo on his arm. And I was like, fuck, I don't think I can get out of this one. So
I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion.
yeah, so like I ended up getting that and then got the Follow the Yellow Brick Road one, my mom's handwriting.
Which I really like that one.
Thank you. And then I got this. This is a funny story.
What does it say?
It's ILYM and it's I Love You More. And like so me and my ex-boyfriend, we're doing like a side project called I Love You More, like one word. It's stupid. But I got this when we broke up as like my like fuck you. I was like, this is done.
Ooh.
It's over.
Ooh.
And then like he got it when we got back together. And then
Whoa.
and then he didn't tell me. Like I sent like every video that was taken. I was like, I'm getting this for you. Like just being gross.
Yeah, you really were over that.
Oh yeah. And then he got it on his finger and then we broke up again and he got like barbed wire around it and then that faded away and then he got a red line through it and that faded away and then he got RIP on his other finger like because apparently this finger wasn't working so he got RIP and then that faded away so like the next time I saw him like a year later all he had was the I Love You More and I was like you little fucker. I was like sorry but so that's that one. And then I have Pooh Bear because
The new song. What is it about Pooh Bear? Not going into the new song, but what is it about the character that speaks to you?
Well, there's a lot of things. Like, I'm a very, I take comfort in feeling like a kid. Like, I think that's probably a problem. I think most psychologists would say you're a little fucked up. But, I sleep with, 100 stuffed animals. Like, that's just...
Listen, I sleep with a stuffed lion. Gonna come out on the record and say that, yeah.
No, but it's to me, it's like I feel like a kid. Like, I feel safe.
Yeah. I think people underestimate how important it is to feel comfortable and safe.
And it doesn't matter how you get there. But Pooh Bear is one that I have had since I went to Disney World when I was really little. And my ex would he took it from me basically and would sleep with it. But Pooh Bear actually it represents all these mental the whole thing is
About
mental
childhood,
health.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole show is based off mental health. So it's every character in Winnie the Pooh represents a different disorder.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
I knew that.
No, it's
Well, okay, yours depression.
yeah,
Is Rabbit
OCD.
OCD?
Piglets, he has a stutter and he's
Anxious.
yeah. Pooh Bear's
Owl?
dyslexia.
Tigger? Mania.
ADD, ADHD.
Okay. And what's Pooh?
I think Pooh's a combination of all of them.
Huh.
No, Christopher Robin's schizophrenic. That's why he has all these friends.
Oh, there you go.
This is kind of a mind-blowing... Wow.
So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Well, on that note, what was your first concert?
Good segue, Noah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, wow. Britney Spears in Vegas when I was 8.
Wow.
Nice.
My parents took a houseboat trip and we went to Britney Spears.
Nice.
It was in her I'm a Slave for You days and I was like, I love this.
If you see Britney Spears twice, the second time do you say, oops, I did it again? And if you see her multiple times, is that toxic?
You're funny. Did you come up with this just now?
Just no.
I don't believe you.
Off the dome.
I don't believe you.
I swear. No, you've never heard that before, have you?
I never heard that before. I can attest that was probably off the dome.
That was off
That
the
was
dome.
great.
Thank you.
What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Nice. What's your favorite movie?
Inglourious Bastards.
Nice.
What's your favorite book?
I think Night by Eli Wiesel.
Nice.
Or The Most Dangerous Game. It's also a weird book, but I like it.
Favorite TV show?
I really like Stranger Things, but that's just because I'm watching it right now. It's definitely not my favorite show, but it's one of them.
But that's the thing. Like, I feel right now like it's my favorite show.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're watching Stranger Things, it's
Yeah.
definitely your favorite show. What's the best date you've been on?
Aww. I've only been on like 2. I had some shit boyfriends. Not gonna lie. The best date. I just went golfing with John and he wrote on the scorecard, best date ever, so I'm gonna go with that.
That's cute.
Shout out to John. That was
Shout out John.
Shout out to golf.
Love you, John. Shout out to PJ West. Tiger Woods.
What a sport.
Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer. Par for the course.
Let's hit the links.
Can you whistle? Cool.
Nailed it.
Learned that one.
That's as good as it
What's
gets.
something you did that you'll never do again?
Sign a deal without a lawyer?
Hey.
Fair one. Do you have a scar with a story?
I have lots. I have one from going down on my hip. Oh, no, let me rephrase that. I have one from going down a hill, like a really long hill, big hill, super steep, on a razor. And I literally like went down this hill and I just plopped over to my side and landed on a rock.
Ooh.
And then like the next day, like crashed a pocket bike. I was like 7. My parents were like, I don't care what she does. I have no feeling in my middle finger. And I have a huge scar. You can see it.
Did it fall off?
Yeah.
What? Wait. Okay. Sorry. What?
My brother, so we had like in my house in Orange County, we had like these really heavy doors. And my brother was an asshole and he was like, you can't get in my room. And I was like, yes, I can. And I put my finger in between like the frame and the door. And he was like opening and closing and he's like, ha. And then he slammed the door and it was closed and my finger was on the other side. And it like, you know, like when you like bruise your fingernail on like a car door or something.
Yeah.
You guys look woozy.
I know this is gonna be uncomfortable, wherever this goes.
Yeah. So like,
Did it fall off?
so I'm thinking because it cut off all the nerves, I'm thinking like nothing is like, it's a bruise, like whatever. And I like looked down and I was like, oh my God. Because it was like my entire finger was just hanging like. So they had to stitch it back on. Whoa. My mom wrapped it in a dry paper towel. And I had to wait for 3 hours.
What was it like to not have a finger for 3 hours?
You don't know. You don't feel it.
That's crazy.
It's like phantom limb.
Do you have any recurring dreams?
Ding.
Ding.
Yeah, the craziest dream that I've had a couple times has been like, so my friend Sean, he lives in NoHo, like in an apartment, and I had a dream where I was lying on his couch and I like, something was pulling my hair and I saw something on the balcony, like just crazy. And like and it was really dark and weird. And like, it just kept saying like to get out of the apartment. And then like all this weird shit started happening at his apartment throughout the next couple weeks. And his brother came to visit and was sleeping on the couch and had the same dream. Like the exact same dream.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have weird dreams.
No, I mean, I'm always jealous of the flying dreams because I always feel very heavy in my dreams. Like,
Really?
I feel like very sort of tired or lethargic sometimes.
I have a lot of dreams with like celebrities that I end up meeting. Like, I used to have dreams about Hillary Duff all the time, and then like I hung out with her like multiple times.
What?
Super weird. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Come clean as our shit. So like,
Yeah. I think like if you're a very intuitive person, your dreams do mean something sometimes.
I agree. I feel
Yeah.
like our subconscious is like really good at processing stuff.
Yeah.
And that like it's just aware of all the details. Like we can
Yeah.
store entire people
Right.
in it. So I think it's very interesting that when you have conversations with somebody, you know, I mean, I had conversations with exes, you know, in my dream where, you know, they're like, yeah, you're fine. We're fine. It's okay. Like, stop thinking that we're fighting. And then I'll eventually call them up and be like, hey, are you still mad? Like, is it okay? He's like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like your brain knows that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, like I used to like draw, like when I was little, I would draw pictures of New York City, never have been there, but I'm like, I'm gonna live here. And like then like there was a time in my life like that it happened and I was there for a couple months, but I was like, when I got there, I had that feeling of like when I was little and I just dreamed about it and I was like, I manifested this shit. I was like, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
On that note, any advice to your teenage self?
Honestly, no. I think because I was so reckless, I'm able to be the person that I am today, and I'm able to not make those dumb mistakes. It was like, there's so many times where I tell, like, I'm like, thank God I was not, that I went through all of that then. Like, thank God I didn't do that now. Because there's so many times where people don't make those big mistakes until later in life, and it's just not.
I mean, you learned early.
I learned early, yeah. And I doesn't mean I don't make a lot of big, dumb mistakes, but I have a lot of insight.
Yeah.
Because I was so stupid.
You know, it's important.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for new artists, producers, and writers?
It's hard. I think if you are doing this, I think do everything 100% from your heart, and never second guess yourself if you really feel it. And if you fail, be grateful and just keep going. Like we were talking about, like motion. It's the most important thing.
I think, and again, I said it before, like one of the things I appreciate the most about what you do is that you respect that movement, you know? Like mistakes are just part of that motion in general.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people see failure as a setback, but it's not.
Yeah, no, too many people, and it's hard to try to talk someone out of that. To be like, this is like, to look at, because I'm so on the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, this is it. Like I'm in like literally the lowest of the low places I've been. And I'm like, this is it. But like, that's a little unrealistic, but it's gotten me to have so many things that I have that I'm thankful for. And like, I think to try your hardest to think, you know, optimistically, and to know that like just be confident where you're going, and identify where you want to go. Like first thing, you know.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, I'm most proud of the way that I handled my last year on Earth. Last year, 2018, was a really, really, really rough year for me. And with this like mentality that I have, like that I didn't even realize I had until all of this went, like this bad things happened. But something happened. I like went and I did a movie and like signed a new deal, like just all these things all at once, like within the course of like 6 months. And I think like I've learned so much about myself and like my strength, like going through these things that are difficult and coming out of them. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like, I'm most proud of that. I'm most proud of doing this like movie that I did last year.
What's the name of it?
The Year of the Beetle.
Hey, we're excited to see it.
Yeah, I am too. I had like pink hair. I was ripping grits left and right. It was gross.
Ripping what?
Grits,
Ripping grits.
like cigs.
Oh. So you were like really going in on like
Ripping grits.
like a bowl of grits,
No,
just like
I'm just
eating
gross.
porridge, just.
I'm gross. I'm a gross person.
All right, and what are you most excited for?
I'm most excited for this next chapter of my music and just life in general, and experiencing like different things and new things and moving forward. Like I feel like I'm so young, and like I've experienced so many different things and different like chapters already. I've this past year just put my life into my music and telling my story like the way I want it to be told, and getting better at production and all this stuff. And yeah, I'm just excited to put myself out there the way I truly like see myself, you know.
Oh, I mean, we're excited for the new music.
Thanks.
Also, final question.
Yes.
Ding.
So the next single is Pooh Bear.
Yes.
What was the process of making that song, and what are you most excited about for that song?
Oh God, there's so many things.
So many things.
Okay, so this song, I do a lot of like, when I go down to Orange County to see my parents, like I'll bring my USB mic and I'll like just make something and lay in my bed like as lazy as possible, be like, like that's just what I do. And this song just kind of happened. The lyrics are so stupid, simple, but like it just says everything I wanted to say. Because at the time I had broken up with my boyfriend, and like he was coming in and out and like and all this stuff. And the concept of it is, like I said before, like he like would hold on to my like Pooh Bear. I was pissed. I'm like, that's mine, bitch. But no matter how much time had passed, he would come to my house because I let him in there like a stupid person. And he would get in my bed and he'd hold on to my Pooh Bear and he'd fall asleep. And I'd be like, when are you leaving? But it was this whole thing. Like I was
After you guys had broken up?
yeah. And I was like, but I was his family. I was his comfort. I was like everything. Like, and so it was just very like, I was at that point, I was almost observing it from like an outside perspective. So when I wrote Pooh Bear, it was like one of those times where it was a complete accident. Like I just was in my house, in my parents' house, and I was just mumbling something, and it came out, and I was like, you can't say Pooh Bear and rhyme it with Uber. That's stupid. And I did, and it just sounded good. I was like, whatever. It was like I had been trying so hard, like for the past, like before I wrote the song, to write a dumb, catchy pop song. Not dumb, but like
but
simple.
Something that's simple but has an honest origin, I think, is really powerful.
And I had tried so hard. It was like I'm not even kidding. Like,
well, it's just he kept coming over, and it's like you got to listen to new rules.
Right.
You know? Step one.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the phone. You know he's only calling because he's drunk and alone. Two. Don't let him in. You'll just have to kick him out again. Three.
Don't be his friend.
You
know he's gonna wake up in bed in the morning.
Because if you're under him, you
ain't
ain't getting over him. We're really looking forward to Pooh Bear coming out, and It's been one of the funniest, most ridiculous podcasts we've done.
Good.
So it is good to see you, Kara.
That's my job.
That's your job.
I bring the party.
It's good to see you. Thank you for being on here.
Thanks for having me.
And you know that you still kiss me just like you used to. Get in bed and hold on to Pooh Bear. We might fuck and then get some cheap food. You asked me to call you an Uber. I say, can we just talk about it? You say we can't get back together. Round and round the circle continues. I'm so sick of not getting better.
We would like to thank Jaegermeister and Isotope for their early support of Talking Lion.